mastery class. And I decided to do this to give people an opportunity to not only understand how to sports bet effectively, but understand the numbers, right? Take the numbers into account, learn the numbers, stack the numbers, and track the numbers, okay? So without further ado, I'm going to get right on into this, okay? Thank you guys for jumping on. Thank the people that reached out to get DM'd, get the link, and get set up. So I appreciate you guys, right? So the first thing you want to understand in sports betting is the casinos make money off of losers, right? Off of losers, right? So there's winners and there's losers, right? That's the key thing you want to remember. The first thing that I want to go over is spread. So now spread is the amount of points that a team is going to win by. This is called the spread. So let's say you have the Los Angeles Lakers and they're saying a -7.5. This means that the Lakers have to win by 8 because there's no such thing as a half a point in basketball. So when you see a minus, this means that the casinos are favoring this particular team. When you see a minus, when you see a plus, this is normally on a team that they feel is less likely to win. You'll see a plus 7.5. So let's say it's the Lakers and the Suns, and it has plus 7.5. This means that the Suns could either win outright or not lose by no more than 7 points. Okay? This is the spread, the margin of victory. So when you see a plus, that means the margin a team could lose by. When you see a minus, this means the margin that the team has to win by. These are the two key factors that are very important when betting on the spread. Okay? That's the first thing I want to go over there. That's very clear. If you're a person that's like myself, that sometimes, you may not catch everything the first go round, grab a pen, grab a pad, take some notes. So minus is favorite, plus is underdog, okay? This is the two things you want to understand, establish early, and know that, okay? So a lot of times, the general public determines how these numbers move. So if a lot more people feel like the Lakers are going to win by 8, this number might go from 7.5 up to 8.5. But if you feel like the Suns can cover the 7.5, what I mean by covering is that they're not going to lose by any more than 7, then you go with the team that you feel is favored. Okay? It's very important in sports wagering to understand spread. The next thing we're going to go over is money line. Okay? Write this in the chat. Write ML in the chat. Thank you guys for jumping on. Money line. Money line is very important because this is who you're going to say is going to win the game. Now, if you have two teams, let's say another example is the Knicks and the Spurs. Let's say you have the Knicks and the Spurs, and you feel like the Knicks are going to win the game tonight. You would just bet money line if you're not sure at what is the margin of victory. However, when you bet money line on a favorite, you end up winning less money. It may say minus 150. Whatever number it says that it's a minus 150, that means you need to bet $150 in order to win $100. If it says minus 260, you have to bet $260 in order for you to win $100. Okay? Be very mindful of that when you are betting in money line. Now, if you also feel like the Spurs as an underdog on the Knicks are going to win, it may say plus 180. This means that for every 100 that you put up, you're going to win $180 back. So plus is always going to get you more money. Plus money. It's called plus money. When you take in plus money, this means that you're taking a less than likely. This is an underdog, and you're saying that they're going to win or they're going to cover. This is very important in sports wagering, the plus money. Okay, you guys? Glad you guys are here. Glad you're understanding that. So that is when you're betting money line. Okay, so we went over spread. We went over money line. The next wager is totals. Okay, now totals is over and under. This is what you're saying the total with combined points on both teams are going to be when they play one another. A lot of times you may see totals that are 215, 216. If you see like a team that runs up and down the court very fast pace, has a high offensive efficiency, and you feel like they score a lot of points, you may want to bet the over on 216. You also want to base it upon the average that the team normally scores and the pace and the flow that you feel like the game is going to take on. This is very important to know when you're betting over and under. Very important. So, for example, they may say over 216 minus 110. This means for every $110 that you put up, you're going to win 100 back. Now, if you put up 100, you're going to win 90 because the bookies need to take their cut. So whatever's the number that is above 100, that's the cut that the bookies are taking. Okay? So keep that in mind when betting overs and unders. Under, you may take under 216 because you're like, okay, maybe this person's out. There's an injury report and Wemby's out, or this person's out. So these are very important to understand when betting sports. These are very important to understand how to leverage sports betting in order to get the right overs and the right unders. Also, you could bet over and under first half. So let's say you think they're going to come out and they're going to be a little sluggish, or they may be on a road trip. You could bet the over and under the first half. You could also bet the spread first half. You could also bet money line first half. Keep that in mind when you're betting. These are things that you need to know before you engage in the activity. Okay? So you guys, I went over money line, I went over spread, I went over the over and under. These are very important things to understand. Next, I want to go over player props. The reason why we hit at a high rip on player props is because we understand the teams and we understand the players. Here over at Smack the Odds, we do a great job at player props, at hitting our parlays on a high rip, and being able to understand player props. Player props is basically a point number that the particular player averages, whether that's on home runs, whether it's points, whether it's rebounds, whether it's pitching ERA. All of these things are player props. They also in NFL have rushing yards, catch yards. These are things that allow you to understand each individual player. So versus you betting on a team, you're actually now betting on a player's performance. This is key in betting. If you feel like a player might have had a bad stretch and they're facing a horrible team, instead of you betting the full game, you could then say, hey, you know what? I'll just bet the player prop and bet that the player is going to have a good performance today. You may want to use it also as a parlay piece to be able to get more income on a particular ticket. So very important to understand player props. I'm going to give you an example. Let's say Jalen Brunson, they're saying that he has to get over 24 points in this game, right? He needs over 24 points. And he may be playing the Utah Jazz, but he's on a 4-game road trip, right? He's playing the Utah Jazz. Jalen Brunson could get 24 on the Utah Jazz in the first half. So that's very important to understand and know, understand and know that who's playing, right? Who's playing. It's very important to understand and know that. It's very important. Okay, you guys? So know that. And let me get this out the way, clear this for you guys. Clear that. I touched something. But very important to understand player props, see their trends, see how they play against certain teams. These are all tools that we utilize. We have an extensive toolbox that we utilize in order to get you the best particular value and the best particular play. So that's one thing you need to understand. Player props is huge. You can make a lot of money on player props. And now that the FBI has cracked down on false betting, players' performance are under a microscope. So you really can make a lot of money off of player props and really win and smack the odds there. That's one thing I wanted to touch on. The next thing I want to touch on, and this is very, very, very important, is bankroll management. I see so many people get emotional when they take a loss, right? And I had an old saying my OG used to tell me, he said, you're not a boss until you took a loss. And it really stuck with me. It stuck with my brain. And losses is only lessons, and the L's come before the M's, my friend. So you have to be able to be okay with losing some days. Every day is not going to be a grand slam when you hit it out the park. So be mindful of that when you're sports wagering. It's not, and keep in mind, I want to make this very clear. I'm not a financial advisor. Gambling and sports wagering does entail risk, and you need to be mindful of your risk and bet responsibly. Okay, you guys, I want to make that very clear. An acknowledgement to YouTube and to everyone around the world. We want to see you win. We want to see you prosper. And that's why we very mindful on educating you on how to become a better sports bettor. This is very key. So with that being said, it's another thing that I want to tell you about with bankroll management is you want to have your bankroll in mind. Let's say you have $100, for example, very minimal bankroll. Okay, I got $100. The average person is not supposed to bet more than 1, 2, 3% of your bankroll. This is what keeps you in the game. So if I got $100, I'm betting $1. I'm betting $1. I'm betting $1. I'm betting $1. I'm parlaying maybe $2. 1 to 3% of your bankroll. So I may have $3 today. I could bet because I have 100. I'll take this 3 straight on this game. Now, when you win if you bet 3, you're probably gonna win 360, 3 and change like that. You take that money, withdraw it out of your account. This is going to be bankroll management. These are the strategies that we teach. You put that in a separate account. Boom. Now you start back at wherever you started from each and every day. You're never reaching. You're never getting mad because you took a loss, because that's within your 1 to 3%. So you was ready to move that. And then we track the system with your winnings and your losses. At the end of the year, you should be able to have more money in this account than you originally started with. That's what we do here at Smack the Odds. Bankroll management, very efficient. And we don't overplay any play. Any play that we put out, we always leverage. We're using leverage in order to win. So you may win that 3.5. Now you could bet, okay, another $1 on this parlay. That parlay smack, now you got $6. You just got 10% return on that $100. So you got $10 off of $3. That's how we smack the books consistently, you guys, on a consistent basis. bankroll management is very, very key. And then you have to have emotional stability, right? You can't have someone in your ear like, oh man, why you always gambling? Yo, gambling? You still gambling? Oh, you gambling? Listen, life is a gamble. People that put their money in the stock market, even though it's an educated wager, and I'm not knocking the stock market. I think the stock market is a phenomenal tool as well to gain wealth. But you can also gain wealth from sports betting and sports wagering because you're making an educated decision based on numbers. The numbers will make sense, you guys, at the end of the day. Numbers always win. So that's something I wanted to touch on. Bankroll management and emotional stability is very key. Also, this is huge for mastering. This is huge. I'm going to give y'all a free gem. A lot of you guys, you bet every single sport. You bet baseball, you bet soccer, you bet NFL, you bet tennis, you bet basketball, you bet any sport, you're betting it. You have to figure out what areas you're good in and what areas you're strong in. And that's what we do over here at Smack the Odds. We have a mean team that are in different sports pockets. So we have a NFL person in our crew. We have a tennis person that's in our crew. We have a college football person that's in our crew. And we trade numbers and we stack each particular sports. This is what allows us to be a lot stronger than other sports consulting companies because we have a stronghold on the game. Also, we're in beautiful Las Vegas where it all goes down. And a lot of times people don't know how they play. We've been doing this for over 20 years in the sports wagering field, and we've been doing pretty good at it. I can't lie. We've been able to have a great life and afford ourselves a beautiful life, but this is what makes us unique. So if you're tired, if you're just sick and tired of taking losses after losses, and you're already deep, deep in your bankroll bag, this may be a calling from God, you seeing this message, to really not only partner with a company that has been doing it for a long time, test the strategies that we're giving you. Know the areas of expertise where you're strong in. Stay away from areas where you're weak in. Track those numbers. If you keep losing at one sport, chances are, listen, that's not a lesson. Sometimes you got to step back from that sport or really analyze that sport a little deeper or hire someone that's really strong in that sport area. That's very key. Tracking the numbers, knowing the numbers, and detailing a plan. That's what we do here at Smack the Odds. We detail a plan for you. We make sure you understand bankroll management. We get you to where you're not in emotional wreck. Just looking around like, oh man, I got this. What's going on, man? You think this is gonna hit? No, you're not gonna be a wreck because you've maintained emotional stability. So not only do we give you emotional stability, we give you bankroll management. Not only do we give you bankroll management, we give you free plays, parlays each and every day. We tell you the level of strength on a parlay. Is this a 10 parlay? Is this a 5 parlay? Is this what do we feel about this parlay? This is what other sports agencies aren't doing, and we do it at a high level. So if you're interested in getting started, comment below or reach out on the Instagram at Smack the Odds, or you could reach out directly at Main Simon in my DM on Instagram. I'll be more than happy to reach back out to you and give you the insight and the knowledge that we have of the game. It will be a small fee. If you're looking at this live, Zoom, live, YouTube, shout out YouTube world out there. We're recording multiple sources. Shout out to YouTube world out there. If you're interested in getting started, reach out. I promise you it will not be a bad decision. and will definitely help you in order to scale in sports betting. At Main Simon everywhere, especially on Instagram and YouTube. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you for jumping on this live with me. Sports Mastery class. And I'm out. Peace, love, and multiple blessings.